while we await for me to finish Batman Arkham Shadow so I can elaborate my thoughts on that game. I haven't quite gotten around to finishing it yet, just due to personal stuff. Just been quite busy lately. Haven't really had the time to play it. However, I do plan on recording some footage later. Hopefully we can get the game done within the next week or so that I can get my thoughts out on the internet before the trend passes of this new Batman Arkham game. However, while you guys wait, I wanted to make a video talking about Batman Arkham Origins, because I feel like this was a game for a long time that's kind of gone under the radar, that because of some things that happened at launch, whether it was, glitchy game, people were upset the Joker was in the game, regardless of whatever it was, this game did do a few things quite well, and I wanted to point out 5 specific things that I thought that Batman Arkham Origins did better than any other Batman game in the Arkham franchise, and possibly even ever. And I mean, I guess you could say that all the Batman Arkham games are the best Batman games ever. So, without further ado, let's go over 5 things I think Batman Arkham Origins did best. The first and one of the most obvious things that people tend to associate with this game that I want to get out of the way from the jump is boss fights. This game had some of the best boss fights because that was kind of the model of the story of this game. So it kind of had to live up to have the best boss fights, right? It was about 8 assassins after Batman's head, and we basically have to stop them all. And so that kind of became the whole plot of the game. Thus, therefore, the boss fights should be the best. But this game did have some really, really good bosses that I don't think were really beaten by anything besides maybe Mr. Freeze in Batman Arkham City, and that one was really good. However, some of the boss fights in Arkham Origins, how many good ones there were, makes it, for me, the best in the franchise. And some good examples of that I think would be Deadshot, it would be Bane, the Killer Croc at the very beginning of the game, I thought was done very well. Deathstroke obviously is one of the best hand-to-hand combat ones of all time. It's kind of on par with the Mr. Freeze one, except this one's melee. It's not a stealth one, so they're kind of equal in terms of their capabilities. And there are other ones that were okay. I mean, Shiva's was kind of meh, to be honest, and there were a few that weren't really anything special. However, I still think that the boss fights were the best because the best of the best were extremely good. Even Fireflies, honestly, was not that bad. I like the scenery change, the fact it takes place on the bridge. I thought that was an awesome experience. Now, the second thing I think this game did the best out of the entire franchise, and people might argue this one with me, but I don't think it's really that much of a debate in my opinion, and that's the crime scene investigating in this game. Honestly, in my opinion, the murder mystery aspect in this game was done extremely well. When you go to Lacey Towers, and that's probably the first crime scene you're going to investigate in this game, it makes you go step by step. There's a lot to look at. There's a lot of clues that you have to investigate, rewind time, and put time forward, fast forward, I guess you would say. And it just made it you felt like you were actually putting the pieces of the puzzle together. As well as there's like 8 or 9 other murder mysteries in this game where you have to do very similar things. I thought that was a really, really cool concept, and some people might argue Batman Arkham Knights is better, but honestly, I just don't think it really compares, because you only do that one time in the game, and it's not even really that advanced, and that's when you find the car crash site with the Arkham Knight and Oracle. You kind of do the same thing as you do in like Lacey Towers, but the Lacey Towers one clears it by far. The crime scene investigation was a lot better, because even the murder mysteries in Batman Arkham Knight was like, you kind of change how you're looking at the dead bodies. It's kind of hard to explain. Like, you go from skeleton to organs and other stuff to figure out abnormalities with these people to figure out who they are. That's cool, but there's only like 3 things to scan. In Batman Arkham Origins, it felt like there were so many things to scan, so many things to process and put together to find your evidence to catch the killer. I just thought it was done better in Batman Arkham Origins, in my opinion at least. I don't know if this third thing is going to be considered a hot take or not, but honestly, in my opinion, the actual story mode, the campaign, whatever you want to call it, in Batman Arkham Origins was done the best, in my opinion. I found the story to be the most grasping. It's between that and Batman Arkham City. Now, if you were to ask me a month from now, I might say Batman Arkham City's story is better, because I was crapping on City for the longest time. However, I have come to really like that story too recently, and really starting to understand it from a different perspective. But however, I've also started to understand just how good Batman Arkham Origins story is. And a lot of people said that the campaign was short, but I didn't think it was any shorter than Batman Arkham City. City was a pretty short campaign. Asylum was a pretty short campaign. Arkham Knights was pretty long, and when you play it more than once, yeah, that becomes a bit tedious. But length, generally, if it's filled with quality content, is better in my opinion. I'm not saying Batman Arkham Knight had that, but we're getting sidetracked. In my opinion, I thought Batman Arkham Origins had the best campaign simply due to, there's a couple things, and I'm going to go into it for reasons 4 and 5 of things that Batman Arkham Origins did best. But I would say throughout the course of the story, Batman just learns a lot about himself, a lot more than he does in other games. And that's a point I'm going to get into for my fourth thing. But I thought that the campaign was the most intriguing. I thought that the assassins on going after your head was a very unique plot twist, because people are always trying to kill Batman, but it's not 8 super high level deadly assassins that could kill you in the brink of a second if you allow them to even get close to you. I thought it was a very interesting plot point. I thought going to Blackgate Prison, finding yourself going back and forth between the GCPD, Blackgate Prison, the Batcave, I thought all these levels were done extremely well as developing your relationship with Jim Gordon, something that it is seen sometimes in Batman media. However, in this game, I thought it was done extremely well, and also to see how good Gordon's, character model finally looked, how young he looks, and it really goes to show how much stress can really play a factor when you're in Gotham. The fourth thing that this game did the best, in my opinion, and it's something I kind of briefly talked about in the last entry, but that's the overall character development of Batman / Bruce Wayne, whatever you want to call him. I thought that Bruce Wayne's character development in this game specifically was the best, because he had the most opportunity to grow, because he's been doing this Batman thing for about 2 years at this point, but he's not super well known. He's not like a veteran when it comes to Gotham and its crime. So obviously, Batman still has a lot to learn about himself and a lot to learn about Gotham as a whole, and he knows about all the corruption, but I don't think he understands everything to the deepest level yet. But Batman, you can tell in this game, is just a very angry man, and part of the reason why I think he wants to beat up criminals is obviously due to the anger and suffering he feels from losing his parents, but I also think I think there's part of him that does enjoy hurting other people. He wants to hurt other people because he's experienced the same hurt. It's not necessarily just about criminals. I think it's a mental issue that he has. And whenever people say Batman's crazy, they do have a point, because it's not normal to dress up as a bat and want to go out and hurt people, regardless of the criminal activities that they do on a day-to-day basis. But also the character development, from a standpoint that Batman is a loner, right? He feels the need that he always has to do everything by himself, that he's an island. He's not just a man, he's an entire army, and he could take out everybody by himself. But throughout the course of this game, when he gets someone very close to him, and Alfred nearly killed and did die for a very short amount of time, he comes to learn that he needs to use his allies as a weapon. Now, Batman is always a loner. He doesn't really like to work with Robin or Nightwing or even Alfred necessarily that much, but he does learn that sometimes a helping hand can just be what saves your life. Now, the last thing I think that this game did best, and I haven't really talked about this much yet because first of all, I have made a video on this, but also I didn't want to talk about this in my campaign thoughts because I wanted to elaborate it here. And the first thing that this game did the best was the Joker. And it's quite simply, if you go through the course of the 4 Batman Arkham games, I thought that Arkham Asylums was good. It was a classic story, but nothing really too special to it. Batman Arkham City felt more like a desperate cry for help, and kind of felt like it was forced, like him being put in the center of attention. So he, poisons Batman and whatever. In Batman Arkham Knight, it definitely felt like he had to be the front and center and had to steal the show in order to grasp, the player's attention, because everybody knows who the Joker is. It's a main selling point. I'll say it time and time again. However, the Joker in Batman Arkham Origins was done best because even though by this point, people were so tired of the Joker that they kind of were blind to the fact that he actually was a very good addition to this game and was used extremely well. As a plot twist, as a gag, as a fake, it's totally something that Joker could do. It's totally something that we can get behind. And showing his own character development in a way, from being a guy who's crazy, it's definitely not normal, but he's also not necessarily insane. He's definitely capable of thinking for himself. He's definitely not someone who seems to be mentally impaired, because he seems to be very smart, but he's also someone who sees Batman and wants to try to be the polar opposite, but doesn't necessarily feel that deep emotional connection because he wants him dead. But when Batman saves his life, I think the Joker has a whole new meaning for Batman. He falls in love with Batman. It's like something new. Like when he's laying down talking to Harleen Quinzel, aka Harley Quinn, talking about his feelings towards Batman, but doesn't mention the name Batman. It's just kind of vague about it. But goes on to say that he feels like he's free falling and he didn't pack a chute, that he finally understands fate, that his whole life has been leading towards this one moment. you can kind of see the shift in Joker as he goes from wanting to kill Batman as to wanting to be chased by Batman and pursued by Batman and almost loved by Batman to a degree. Even though the Batman will never love the Joker, there is a certain type of cat and mouse relationship there, a Catwoman type of deal that we got going on, but except it's the Joker. I think the Joker was done extremely well, and even if certain things do quote unquote break canon, like like Joker meeting Harleen Quinzel in Blackgate instead of Arkham Asylum, it doesn't matter to me personally. They created a great story with it, and I'm happy that that's what we got. And guys, these are 5 things that I think Batman Arkham Origins did the best. Let me know what I missed down in the comments below, or if you just disagree with some of my opinions. I will do the other games and stuff. I have done Batman Arkham City, Batman Arkham Asylum. I plan on doing Batman Arkham Knight next, and I'll go through the 5 things that these games did the worst, respectively, as well as, my thoughts on Batman Arkham Shadow once I complete it. But like I said at the start of the video, I'm working on it. I'm going to have it coming out here soon, having my videos and my thoughts on the game coming out soon, and then we plan on branching out to other stuff for a while. As much as I love these games, there's only so many videos you can make on these specific games, so I plan on branching out, Spider-Man, other types of games. So I hope you guys look forward to that. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you guys later. Peace!